It all ended in tears for 4 teams. 2 teams in the CAF Champions League and 2 teams in the Confederations Cup. 4 teams find themselves on the cusp of glory in CAF's inter-club competitions. We're 4 matches away from finding out who the true kings of these competitions are. My name is Adelani Folashayo Grenade. SC Kadebe graces us with his presence on today's Champions League special. We have so much in store for you. Stay tuned. Well, let's get the show on the road with today's trivia question. And I simply want to know if you know, when was the last time our Ahly were eliminated from the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League? Essie, welcome to the show.
Always great being here, Ade.
Essie, I know you know the answer to that question, but I was reading something unbelievable about our Ahly, that they've never been defeated at home in the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League.
Yeah, that's the greatness of Al Ahly, you know. You're always going to read something interesting about them, and factually so. It's a team that just does amazing things. The numbers are just insane.
See, my iPad even fell when I mentioned that stat.
Scary moment.
It couldn't believe it. Now, let's talk about Friday night. Last Friday was a special night for African football. We saw it all. We saw Orlando Pirates, well, hey, they couldn't give us an all-South African final. But let's talk about Mamelodi Sundowns and that interesting game we saw against our Ahly. Some people will call it boring, but I disagree.
Before you even get into that, let's talk about the euphoria. Let's talk about the atmosphere. 75,000 people in that stadium.
75,000 people dressed in red. So maybe Mamelodi Sundowns, 7 supporters or 75?
57 to be more precise, but in this case, I'll take 7. You look at that alone, Adelani, it tells you a lot, you know. They requested that the stadium be filled to capacity, and literally the Red Sea came out. And what I love what Sundowns players did was giving the Al Ahly players a parade to say, the honor is yours, let's go. And we get into the game, and the match starts, and fireworks all day. Sundowns comes into this game boxing so well. Remember now, Cardoso has played Koller before, you know, Marcel Koller before, in the previous season when they played Aspirants and Al Ahly. They come into this coming into a huge game, humongous game. And Cardoso says to Marcel Koller, let's see what you got.
So do you think that played a part, the fact that Cardoso's lost to this our Ahly team in the final last season? I mean, obviously, that helped him with his experience, with his game plan, with his tactics.
Al Ahly come into this one, Marcel Koller and Al Ahly have won this thing 12 times, you know, and it tells you that this is a huge team. But his approaches into games, it's something of note. You have to look at it. They've played Sundowns twice in these fixtures. And playing Sundowns for the second time, and you approach the game in almost a similar formation after you have played them before. I think to me, he was scared, to be honest with you. And you look at how he approaches the game from a 5-4-1 position. That is a defensive zone when you are playing like that. And you look at the approaches that Cardoso brings. It says, I'll take a 3-4-3. Position in this one.
So tactically, because for me, that is testament to the coach's tactical acumen. When you're 1-0 up, protect the lead. We've seen so many teams in African football make that mistake, leading 1-0, and you still want to go for more goals, and you get exposed at the back.
Look, you can't fault a coach for thinking like that. And ideally, you want to do that. And as I said earlier on, your best form of defense is attack. And in this case, it's a question of being intelligent in terms of how you box. And again, we need to talk about the transitions that happen in this match, you know. This game was played on a transition, especially from the Al Ahly position, you know. They were waiting for Sundowns, and you look at the stats, it tells you Sundowns will always dominate in terms of position. That is the first clever thing that I think the Al Ahly players understood. Even in the first match when they played, Sundowns still dominated the position. They come into this one and they say, let's give you the ball. But in giving you the ball, we'll catch you on those breaks. It happens when they catch them on the break, when the ball is lost in the middle of the park, and you have a Sundowns that is off position because now they were offensive. Al Ahly decides to say, you know what, we'll pounce on them at this very moment. We talk about a player called Imam Ashu. Yes. Very intelligent player. When it was taken out, I think the game changed a little bit. Definitely you can agree to that and say, you know, changing the game in terms of him being subbed, key moment in the game. Another key moment in the game, is having Yassir at the back not being stable. Remember, he was now showing that he's injured. And you play against intelligent players in the likes of, we're talking about transitions. Transitions also speak of what Cardoso did into the game, bringing in a Tembazwane, bringing in a Shalulile, bringing in a Reynolds. These are experienced campaigners.
So now let's talk about our athletes' unusually high standards for me, because Marcel Koller was dismissed after this game. And I feel like it's a pattern. When the previous coach won the Champions League 2020, 2021, and as soon as he didn't win it, he got fired. Now, Koller, what has he done to deserve this treatment? Because he's won 11 titles for the club.
You know, it's a good question that you ask, and you look at it and you ask yourself a question that, is Ahly in their naivety when they look at this? And for me, I say, the standard is too high there. You know, the first mandate of this team is to win the CAF Champions League, and they're not insane in terms of asking that, because they've been dominating Africa in terms of the CAF Champions League space. For me, it's justified. You look at how they perform in the league, it sends out a message to say they are trying to keep issues that are not going to be there come the Club World Cup. Remember, Ahly is still going to a Club World Cup, and remember how they finish in the Club World Cup. It's not a team that comes into a Club World Cup and decides to say, we're just going to add numbers. They want to compete. And with them looking at that and looking at the approach Marcel Koller has, chances are they're thinking, this is not the right guy to take us to the Club World Cup.
Oh my goodness, Marcel Koller, sorry about that. That was way too harsh. Now, a certain team stopped the music all of a sudden as Rivero was enjoying his last dance with Orlando Pirates in the CAF Champions League. And that game was a tough one. Do you think Orlando Pirates were a bit arrogant playing in that game? I mean, they saw Pyramids. We all know they play free-flowing football. Yeah. Orlando Pirates also tried to play.
I think you look at Jose Rivero comes into this game after playing the first leg. And I'm always going to reference the first leg because the first leg is the first half of this fixture. And if he's played Pyramids in the first half and he has seen how Pirates approaches the game, he needs to come up with plans for the second half. And he comes into this game starting again with 3 centre-backs. You have 1 centre-back who's inexperienced, that has been carrying the team. I'll point reference Mbogazi. Why I point reference Mbogazi? You will see how the conversation on the Pirates CAF Champions League has been the young boys carrying the team. And for me, that says, if you've got young boys that are carrying the team, we need to talk about the future when it goes forward. But prior to getting that, talking about the game itself, Mbogazi found himself isolated in most situations. You've got a guy like Fati. Fati is intelligent.
Fati was amazing.
You know, a very intelligent player on the ball.
So was there an issue with the zonal marking of Orlando Pirates? Because, I mean, the 3 goals really were Pyramids actually taking advantage of Orlando's Pirates' defensive lapses.
Not necessarily defensive lapses. One can put it out. As I said to you, you're playing 3 defenders. You're playing against a team that is ball playing, a team that knows how to carry the ball in the next phase of attack. And you've got intelligent players such as Soba. You've got a Fati in the team. You've got a Tora into that Pyramids team. There's a key player we're not talking about here, Fiston Mayele. You look at a player like that and the impact that he has. Look at the goals he scores. It's like he's literally hiding himself from the Pirates' defense.
Oh, wow. Fiston, we're going to talk about him in my African Diamonds. Did you know Kaizer Chiefs even had a chance to sign him and they didn't? We're going to address that issue after this short break. Stay tuned for the Fiston conversation.